And we're back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football. Um, so Chris, it's finally happened, man. The Cowboys have finally started signing free agents. The dam has broken, if you will.
Okay. Well,
Um,
I mean, go ahead.
so over the past few days, outside of our own guys, the Cowboys have finally started signing some outside free agents.
Hmm.
Now, as we all know, they're never going to be big spenders. They may try to swing on a name, but
Hmm.
very seldom do they sign those large or super long term contracts to outside guys.
Okay.
Which is great. Which is great. I personally believe that you should draft your guys and sign your guys. But the Cowboys are a team that likes to fill their holes. If that's the right way to word it, like supplement their defense with free agency. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah, they did what they normally do each year. They come through and they go and cover areas that they need to cover so that when they go to draft, they aren't pigeonholed into drafting a guy of need. The perfect example goes all the way back to 2017 when in the first round they needed a defensive end. They hadn't gone in free agency and got a defensive end. They got pigeonholed in taking a one Taco Charlton,
Yes.
which will forever go down in infamy. Taco Charlton is right up there with Morris Claiborne. Is probably one of the worst draft picks in my recent history in the Cowboys in the first round because they usually don't miss in the first round.
Very
So
seldom.
very seldom do they miss in the first round. They usually hit there. They hit there in the first, and they clean up in the fourth. The fourth round is their round if you want to
Yes.
go back and look in past history. But so that's what they're trying to do. So they turned around and covered some spots. They went and did the big one with Randy Dakota Prescott, getting him signed. They buffered the wide receiver core by getting Noah Brown and bringing Cedric Wilson back, which I think was very smart. But I also think they might want to go get one late in the draft, maybe in the sixth or seventh round, just another guy to help in that rotation or another guy they can groom. Um, they turned around and got Ty Gasecki as a swing tackle, which we
Yes.
saw a veteran, wildly crafty veteran, been around a long time, a lot of games, very few sacks given up. So he is the, as you can say, veteran swing that if Brandon Knight plays, we're good and he can play. And that other guy that we talked about that we refuse to talk about anymore, we won't say his name here on Frankly Football, doesn't get on the field. Linoleum doesn't get on the field. So make sure he doesn't get there. And then the biggest sign, and then they went and brought back Jordan Lewis. What do you think about bringing back Jordan Lewis? Tell me how you feel about that.
If I had to choose between Cheeto and Jordan, um, I'd say 6 times out of 10 I would pick Jordan.
Okay,
Um,
tell me
I
why.
think
Tell me why.
that I think that he was a guy who, prior to the 2020 season, a lot of the fans were up on.
Okay.
I think that the main reason that Jordan got exposed is because he went past the threshold of what his playing time should be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with Jordan becoming almost a full time starter at, at
Mm-hmm.
at the position, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly playing somewhat out of position, Jordan may need to be an inside guy as we now see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he got exposed a little bit. So I think
So,
that if you can put him back in position where he's maybe playing what 50 to 45 to 50% of the defensive snaps, he may
oh,
be able to perform better.
so in a game where you got, let's say, 65 defensive snaps, right? How many
Yes.
snaps do you want to play Jordan Lewis?
25 to 30.
Oh, okay. 25 to, okay. So you basically said you want to relegate Jordan Lewis to the GOAT snaps, like, the great Jeff Heath. Because Jeff Heath is the GOAT on 35 snaps, right?
Here we go. But I
know,
can't I
no,
can't I can't call you wrong. I can't
right,
call you
yeah,
wrong.
right. So, and they all, so basically, so we can basically say we didn't have to go out and sign starters. we need to sign role players. They brought Antoine Woods back, who is another guy who I would say, just like you, is a 25 to 35 snap guy.
Yeah,
If you got him at 25 to 35 snaps, he's effective. When you start getting him to 45, 50 snaps, that's when he loses effectiveness.
that's right.
So the two guys that they brought in on the defense who were kind of like outside guys, but they also brought back Rondell Carter, which was our draft pick last year, but we had to bring him back because he was signed to somebody else's team from our practice squad. They went and got Brent Urban. Now, what do you think about Brent Urban? Defensive tackle. Oh, well, we got three guys. Tyler Basham, right?
Yes, yes.
Terrell Basham.
Terrell Basham,
And yeah, right.
Terrell
And Brent
Basham,
Urban.
Brent Urban,
And Brent Urban.
and
Mhm.
Carlos Watkins.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Talk about those three guys.
Brent Urban is one of those guys who I think didn't get enough credit last year. If he would have been on this team, honestly, I think that, especially playing on the inside, he
Right.
probably would have been your starting one tech. And I'm not sure if that says a lot about Brent Urban or if that says a lot about the talent that was on this team.
Okay.
Because while I do think that Tristan Hill redeemed himself, put himself back within my good graces, and the time that he played in the season, he's not a one tech.
No,
Tristan Hill is
Okay.
not a one tech.
Okay.
Brent Urban, I think, could play that position. He can put himself right over the center, breathe the same air as him if need be,
Okay.
and be able to excel. Compared to the guys on this team, he definitely would have.
Okay.
He played in all 16 games, had 2.5 sacks. That's more than what you can say for the guys here.
Okay.
I watched a few quarters of his. I didn't watch any full game. I did a quarter here, a quarter there, just to get a variety of work.
Okay. All right.
So
okay.
So I think that if he can play a full season, that's he can be productive on this team. I'm not sure if he's going to be your one tech of the future. That still remains to be seen with the draft ahead of us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that he's a much needed improvement, so that guys cannot run 300 yards on you.
So can we assumptively say that Brent Urban is kind of like an upgrade from Tyrone Crawford?
Yes,
I think he's an upgrade. So I think you can say he's a kind of like a play to one, play to three because of his height and size and strength. But he gives us an upgrade at that three that we can keep Neville snaps down. He can be that guy that helps us with our transition with the one to keep Antoine Woods' snaps down. So you can bring him in and you can play him where you're playing Antoine Woods. Or if you want to do a rotation, bring when Woods is playing and Gallimore might be ready and Tristan Hill might be ready, he can play there. So he has some versatility where he can play the one and the three, and he's effective.
Yes. And just like I said, the reason that I think that he is going to be the most effective because guys were not good at stopping the run last year. And he's going to be the space eater.
Okay. So you got him. You got Terrell Basham.
Yes. Terrell Basham, he was a second round pick 3 or 4 years ago.
All right.
And he didn't play too much during his time with Indianapolis. I think they cut him after his second season.
Right. But the Jets did want him back. He did show great strides and improvement with the Jets. So I think he gets you he's your upgrade from Dorrance Armstrong on the left side. He's upgraded Dorrance Armstrong. So I think do you bring in Bradley or not? Can Bradley or not play from the right? That's my question. Does Bradley and I give you the ability to play from the right?
Here's my thing about Bradley and I. I use Bradley and I as a benchmark for Penei Sewell talk, but I think that a lot of Cowboy Nation kind of overhypes Bradley and I. When I'm just saying, oh well, I mean we just saw him beat Penei Sewell, so there has to be something there. But I think that some people sometimes twist my words to hear me say, oh, I think he's the second coming of Chase Young, and that's not it.
Okay.
I think that something has to be going on with Bradley. If he couldn't beat out guys that were coming off of the street, but before Randy eventually got back in place, and in order for playing time, so I'm hoping that there's something with Bradley and I there, but I don't think that it all came together in this rookie season. But that was bound to happen because no off season, COVID, all of that stuff.
Okay, I'll give you that. I think Bradley came into this behind the eight ball. One, he wasn't going to be able to beat out Aldon Smith because Tom Sula had a passion and affection for him. Plus, at the end of the day, Aldon Smith was a professional and is a professional. So he's going to come in there and give it his all. So I think that was a big factor. I also believe, like you said, also, no off season, not having a chance to get those reps and things of that nature. It limited the amount of time that they can watch him and get him acclimated. I think the third thing that really hurt him was he wasn't able to crack that special teams rotation. So that's where Dorrance Armstrong excelled. So since Dorrance was already on special teams, they were going to kind of give him those snaps. I think having a full off season really helps Bradley, and now he comes back in and he's in there. But he does not limit you from going out and getting a pass rusher. If a Royce from if I'm make sure I'm saying his name right, the young defensive end from Miami falls to you in the fourth round, it doesn't stop you from getting him. And that's where you think you can kind of put him in the mix because you can never have too many pass rushers. But I know you want to be able to have solid, steady guys on the left side. That's why I think Basham does work on the left side. And I also think if you got Rondell Carter, who you did bring back, who you've drafted, you think he has promise, and he's another guy. So I think they covered a lot of different things. But I think the area that they made the biggest improvement to me, I think they got two areas left to make. One was in the linebacking core by getting the Keanu Neil. And by signing him, a former second-round pick from the Atlanta Falcons, big hitter. The one thing I remember about Keanu Neil, and it may not be good for Cowboys fans or people who watch us, I remember him knocking that pick off his knee in 2017 when they had the Eagles beat in their building. He catches that pick, the Eagles don't go down and drive, and they're back to where I think they've always been as being one of the worst franchises in history. Atlanta wins and they go on from there. But I think getting him really helps your linebacking core because now you've got a guy who can play will, who can run, who can thump in the box, and you bring Leighton Vander Esch back to the middle as that middle linebacker. Because I think with Leighton in the middle, he's kind of like a poor man's Rolando McClain. If you don't, because Rolando was so big. Rolando was 6'4", 6'5", could really patrol in the middle of the field. And I think if you can keep Leighton clean, because that's where he's best, when he's clean, let him run. And then you got a guy like Neil who can chase running back, but who is a willing tackler. I think that really, really helps a lot. What you think about that, man?
Now, Keanu Neil is one of those guys who I think provides assistance to both your linebacker and your safety position. I don't think that he solves any of the problem with your free safety. I think that he's a strong, and I pray that that's not a progress stopper to Donovan Wilson. But just like you said, I think that he allows Leighton Vander Esch to kind of play how he's more suited. I think that they may put him at the free sometime, and I guess just have him be like a freelancer. That may be a thing. But Keanu Neil, just like all of these free agent signings, doesn't tie them to any particular need early on and in day two of the draft.
I think he gives them a lot of flexible position because I think if you can turn around and let's say the situation you get on the field, you can move Neil back to strong safety because in a limited role, Donovan Wilson can play free. I don't want him playing free all the time, but in certain situations, he can go and play free. Then I can bring Jalen Smith, who's already got a guaranteed contract, is on the books. He can go to will. He can go to will in certain packages. So it gives you some
Do you want him
flexibility.
at the will though? Do you want
Yeah,
Jalen at the will?
I want Jalen where he can do the one thing he does well, which is run. Okay, he doesn't cover well,
Mm-hmm.
but he can run to the ball. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen is better when he can run to the ball. He doesn't have to make a decision. He's like, hey, go get that. He's good at that. Now, when he's got to put you or me in position and then tell us what to do and read and react, that ain't what Jalen's great at. Jalen's great at running and going and blowing stuff up. So if he knows a place here and he's diagnosed it, he'll go run and tackle it. So I think that's good for him.
Would you say
Um,
that he's best at the Sam in some pass rush situations then?
of course, I can put him at the Sam. I can do that if I get going to a base. I can put him in the base, let him rush from the Sam. If I'm going to go with my base 4-3, I can put him at the Sam. I don't want him without the green dot on his helmet. I don't want him to have a whole lot of responsibilities. I want him to stay extremely healthy this year because we didn't touch his money, so I can get him off my book next year. And he doesn't stop me from going in this draft and getting another linebacker. If a
I love
Jabril
Nick
Cox,
Bolton.
hey, boom. If Jabril Cox falls to me, I can take him.
That's right.
If I trade back or trade down or I get an extra pick in the second,
Baron Browning.
Baron Brownie. If Browning falls to me, I can take him. So there's some guys who I can go get, bring them on, and find out. I can find out what I got with Luke Gifford. I got to find out what's going on with that. But the biggest thing that happened, I know a lot of people are going to be upset that he got his money. I want to get his money in his pocket and have the ability to get him off the books as soon as possible. So
Absolutely.
I think that was good. I think the biggest thing for us is today and tomorrow, what's happening in Dallas is to find out if I can get my bridge free safety in the building. I called for one of these guys before free agency started, and I'm praying that he's healthy enough to come and play, and that's Malik Hooker. I would love to have Malik Hooker paired with a thumper like Donovan Wilson back there in the back half of my secondary, which does not permit me from going and picking up a smaller size, strong free safety that may be available in the draft. Because as we've talked before, pro days have happened. But tell me how you think about the difference between uh, Malik Hooker and I think it's DeMonte Kazeez, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Casey might be how you pronounce his name.
Right.
I'm not gonna say. I don't know.
Right.
But
so if you had a choice, who would you want?
Man, I really want to get from under the thumb of injured guys. So Malik Hooker is one of those guys. Of course, high hopes, high projection, but when you think about his injury history and the probability of him playing a full 16 games, it's not that high, if we're being totally honest.
Right. So if you don't trust him to get full 16 games, that wouldn't prohibit you from maybe in the second round going and getting a free safety, probably out of UCF, or maybe in the fourth, since people ain't gonna maybe see him, maybe a young, smaller type of free safety out of TCU, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Yeah, it wouldn't change. None of these signings would change my mind at all. I'm
Okay.
still going into the draft liking the guys that I like and feeling the freedom to pick them if they fall. So kind of transitioning a little bit. Pro days happen,
Yes.
and have been happening for the past 2 weeks or so.
Gotcha.
One Alabama's pro day was today. You want to tell me a little bit about Alabama's pro day and how you felt about guys like Pat Surtain?
Well, listen, it's been on record, and because we do filming and we do taping, I have not been a huge fan of the cornerback because he's been mocked so readily to the Dallas Cowboys in a Pat Surtain, talking about him as being a guy who could be that corner or that bookend corner for the Cowboys with Trevon Diggs. He ran really well today. I think he ran a 4 I think he ran a 4.3 or a 4.4. I think was his slowest.
I think it was a 4.42 if I remember
Okay,
right off the
okay,
top of
okay,
my head.
okay. So 4.42 40, which boosts his stock but the thing about the 40 and the thing about the combine and their tests, they're all tests. We want to see about measurables. So
Yes,
he passed that test, and his biggest question was his speed. That's been his biggest thing. What we've all said, we know he can run, but we don't think he has long speed. So he's got that 4.4 speed, so we can say, okay, he can run. But when we watch him on tape, it's gonna make you go back and look at tape and say, can he run like that all the time? And that's
that's right.
where that's where because the tape don't lie. Tape gonna tell you where it is. Tape ain't gonna lie. So
That's right.
for me, it does not. The reason why he moves up in our ranking for us was not because of what he did today, because I think he was gonna perform well at his pro day. I didn't think that was gonna be a problem. He was gonna be explosive. He was gonna show you footwork, his knowledge. I think the guy who really hurt himself this week with things coming out was your cornerback
Man,
too.
this hurts. This
Your
hurts.
cornerback, your
Well,
corner,
he's my he was my cornerback one
yeah, he was
prior to
cornerback
this.
one. Yeah, he's cornerback one, and you had pegged him from the start of our process. And a
Yes.
young Caleb Farley. Caleb Farley has had. If people haven't found out, he had a herniated disc, and he had surgery on his back. But he also had a couple of other things that I've come to find out. His football IQ had not been something that was from interviews and people had on him wasn't very high. So
Yes.
here's the things that drop him for me. One, injury. For
Yes.
me, he's totally off the board. He's gotta have a star beside his name. He goes to the fourth round automatically for me for injury. Cowboys now he signed still to deliver for the Cowboys the second round. Don't get it twisted. He he he, he is a Cowboy special in the second round because we love the story. Let's go back to it. Sean Lee, Bruce Carter, um, Jalen Smith,
Yes.
and the list goes on and on, of guys in the second round. Great potential, great story. You take him in the second round, you want to shove him for a year. I don't think you can do that any longer. You got to do that in the fourth round. So you turn around, he can't come off the board. He's not on my board until at least the fourth round. His football, his injury history, his football IQ, because he could have used this year to play to get better at this position, coming from switching position, being a wide receiver, being a cornerback, those things hurt. So my ranking goes back to putting him. You got him as what 4, 5 for you now?
I believe I think six. I think
Oh,
he's my
okay.
cornerback six now.
Oh,
And this is because, and I've said this before, once a disc, always a disc.
yeah.
If this
That's
were
gonna, that's gonna
if
get
this
better,
were
bro.
a knee injury, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, just let him heal and go on from there. If this were a foot injury, if this were
Mm,
like a pectoral injury,
mm.
any other injury besides a herniated disc or anything back slash neck related, I would have said, okay, give him time to heal and he'll be okay.
Absolutely
Backs and necks never fully heal. You
right.
can ask JJ Watt that, and you can ask Tony Romo that.
Got you. Got you.
That'll be an injury, and at that in some form or fashion, will always stick with
And
him.
and being
And
and being
he,
it's a and being it's a disc, and you got to turn, move, hit people, stuff like that.
yes,
Physical position he has to play. Yeah, that's a problem for me. So I'm with you 100%. So our board goes. Yours is J.C. Horn. Mine is Fat Fat Boss Fat Man. Yeah, Fat Man Boss. Calvin Joseph.
yeah,
Number two, like I've got Horn. Uh, Number three, it's Sertan. Sertan's
yeah,
number three now.
absolutely.
He's number three
And
now.
Pat Surtain being cornerback three doesn't mean that he's bad.
Well,
It just means,
hold on, my brother, hold on. We were talking about pro days. There
yeah,
was another pro day
yep,
right there we were talking about.
I've been high on.
Another
I'm
guy
glad to
that
get
you
here.
love. Another guy you love. Well, two of them. We had Florida State's pro day that went off,
Yes,
where the young Marvin young Marvin Wilson showed
Yeah.
off his wares. Uh, Explosive. Oh gosh, he's just his wingspan is amazing. And the guy he is in the middle. But young Asante Samuels
Yes.
ran a 4.44 40.
Now,
So
here's my thing. Here's my
give it
thing
to
with
me.
Asante Samuel. I've been like playing with this idea in my head that I actually kind of like him more than Pat Surtain.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of go back and forth with myself daily about, hey, do I like him? But Pat Surtain played for Alabama, played better talent, things like that.
Okay.
Um, but man, Asante Samuel Jr.'s film is exciting to watch. And the thing about him is you see this 4.4, 4.4 40, and you see the game speed, and it kind of matches up.
Okay.
Unlike Pat Surtain, where he may have the speed in the 40s, but when you see the game, his reactive nature causes him to actually slow down a bit. You can see the wheels turning with Pat Surtain a little bit,
Okay.
and
So
that's the thing that slows him down.
you think Asante is more of a technician where he knows what he's doing, he's got a game plan, whereas with Pat Surtain Jr., he's to the point he's thinking about what to do.
Yes, the
So with,
instinct might not quite be there.
so do you believe that where some of the scouts have said that Surtain he's a pro ready guy, you think that being the opposite? You think Asante Samuel Jr. is pro ready right now? You think
I
he's
think
pro
both
ready?
of them are pro ready.
Okay.
I think both of them are pro ready. They just both have things to learn. And Pat Surtain just has to learn how to feel the game and be proactive, not necessarily reactive.
See, that's what Boss Man Fat Man Calvin Joseph has. Oh, that's why he's number one for me. He has a feel for the game. He has a flow. He has a plan, and he has an idea. Now he may have a little bit of the cannabis underneath the seat and a baby giraffe in the back, but everything else he's got down. He's got a plan. He's got a feel. He's got the speed. He's played the top competition. That's why I'm saying you could see him because of his character issues.
Yes.
Man, that would be absolutely a dream come true. That in the third round you could bang two corners in the third round. Uh, get a boss man fat, get a Calvin Joseph, and then maybe take a smallish free safety. So I have consistently on for here Franklin football been against the smallest free safety. But at TCU's pro day, we had Deron Morrig. He was there,
Yes.
but we also with free safety one was out there today as
That's
well.
right. Hey, I stand by you, man. I
Yeah.
stand by
Our
you.
Darius Washington, and they measured him out at 5'8", 2/8", right?
That's right.
And so
That's right.
when we talked about it
But we,
earlier,
we knew
Brandon,
that. We knew that.
yeah, we did. So he's 5'8" and 2/8". So I
Mm-hmm.
went back and looked at the height of Antoine. I asked you for his height, and I said, okay, well, he's 61 inches. That's five. That's 61 inches. So Antoine Whitfield Jr., which was the draft pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Mm-hmm.
he's said to be 5'7". His listed height on his pro day, he was 5'7" and a half, smaller than our Darius Washington.
Yes.
So I, my friend, have gotten off the ledge of calling our Darius Washington itty bitty. And man,
Glad to hear it.
we progress here, man. We are in the process of becoming better people every day. So um I can see you taking an Darius Washington um and putting it inside your system and letting him grow, not as in height, but as in his physical game. Because like you said, his 40 time wasn't super fast. He ran a 4.61,
Yep.
but his game speed isn't 4.61.
No, not at all. This
So
kind of goes back to what I was saying. Our Darius Washington's instincts are off the charts.
mm-hmm.
If you put him in a situation where he has the field in front of him. He has to make a decision to go to either point A or point B, and he has to do it fast. He can absolutely do it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about these 40 times, guys train for these. They get the form, down to a science.
Mm-hmm.
But doing it in the game, that's a matter of instinct, a matter of talent, and that's why I don't take any points off from him running a 4.61.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but I also think about it like this: the dude is 5'8", and he jumped a 37-inch vertical, 37 and a half actually.
Okay.
It's amazing for a guy his height. It's not necessarily Rondale Moore level of
No.
amazing,
No.
but
Right.
it's definitely amazing.
Well, I'm just lining them up to be in the reference of being Honey Badger 2.0 because Tyrann Mathieu 5'9".
Yes,
5'9".
absolutely.
So 5'9", 190 pounds. Darius Washington 5'8", 108, 180, 185 pounds. 178, 180 pounds. Bruh,
Yeah,
I think if you can pair a Malik Hooker with his talent, his ball skills, his range, and then put in your third and your fourth round where you've cleaned up for years and go get, if he falls to the fourth round, I don't think he falls that far. I'm with you on this. I don't think he falls that far.
not at all.
It's been too many guys like Tyrann Mathieu, too many people like a Buda Baker, too many people like Antoine Whitfield Jr. that are showing you that being 5'8", 5'9" guys, they can play back there, they can run and make plays. I don't think he falls to the fourth, but I think you may have to bang him with that third, which
Yeah,
makes it, we got 9 picks, we got 4 compensatory picks.
yes.
So I think you're gonna have to maybe take that 6 and that 7, move up, and go get a guy or go get one of these guys.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I think if you go get 5 guys out of this draft, you go get 5 guys, 5 starters out of this draft. If these guys
Now,
fall to you, you got to go get them.
now think about this way. I have a first round grade on Darius Washington. He's
He
safety
safety
one for
one
me,
for you. He
but
safety one for you.
that height and in combination with that 40, the measurables,
Right.
that those are going to be the things that scare teams off. While I think that he would be a bottom of the first round guy based off of his skill and his body of work, some teams can't draft, man. we
Yeah.
can see guys like Whitfield and Matthew, who have had success despite their genetic shortcomings.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think that's true. But I also think people are gonna fall in love with Morrig. People are gonna fall in love with Morrig, which I
I
hope they
want them
do.
to. I
I
hope
want
they
them to
do.
fall. I want them to
Even
fall
though
in love
he is
with him.
safety too for me.
Right. So he's safety 2. I got him a safety 3 for me. I think it's
Okay.
I think it's Richie Grant. Richie Grant has been my safety 1 out the gate. I'm moving Darius Washington to safety 2. Then I'm moving Morrig down to 3. So it may be funny that you may lose out on this quote unquote lottery sweepstakes by if you don't get Richie Grant and if Morrig goes and then there's Darius Washington sitting there looking at you. That's another
Yeah,
big one for you. And one more
absolutely.
pro day before we get out of here. Syracuse had its pro day,
That's
and
right.
there was a young man. I always mess his name up. Hit it up for me, B.
Ifeatu Melifonwu.
All right, Obi's little brother. That's what I just
That's
call him.
right.
Make it easy for me. Obi's
There
little
we go.
brother. Yeah, very impressive. He's a physical specimen. Those guys are all great athletes. Explosive, 41-inch vertical, explosive broad jump, 11.2 on the broad jump. He's a specimen at a corner, and I think that worked out great for him. Also in Florida State's pro day, there's Hamsterdine.
Yeah, Hamson Nasruddin.
Yeah. See, I'm a mess. I know who I'm talking about. I'm just gonna
Hey.
butcher their names, but he worked out well today. Um, I don't really see him as a free, even though he's going to try to move as a free. I just think you kind of move him up to kind of maybe a will linebacker with his body. His body type moves him to, I mean, 6'2", 208. Dude.
He got measured at 6'3" and 2/8.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6'4". Let's just go ahead and say 6'4", 215.
That's right.
Put a biscuit or two on him, make him a will, and let him go run and hit people. You know? So it's impressive. You know, a lot of the people that we've looked at and talked about showed improved in this process. I'm looking forward to Ohio State's Pro Day, which I know is on the horizon, and going from there, man. Going from there.
Absolutely. Sticking on Florida State's a little bit. Hampson Nasirildeen is one of those physical specimens. I thought that he was going to be 6'2", measured a whole inch taller. His wingspan, I think, was like 81 inches, which was it's inhuman. It is inhuman.
He's a condor. That's a condor back there, man. You know, it's like just a bird back there, man. That's huge, man. So yeah, that's a huge wingspan. And like I said, I don't think he has the wheels to be a free, but I think he makes a great problem as a will linebacker, running up the seams with running backs, chasing down, running with tight ends, and being that guy who can run and play in space like that. He's physical. I think he'll be a great addition to any team. So I think there's some players out there. So I mean, that's for these few pro days we got left, man. I think those are a lot of talented guys and a lot of guys that checked off the blocks that we had already kind of looked at in the process.
Yes, sir. A lot of guys rose their stock over these past few days. Just on the strength of, teams actually got to see an unbiased measurement of them. Guys who may have been measured an inch taller by their school, or in some cases an inch shorter. Teams really get their eyes on guys, and as we saw, like for example at Alabama's Pro Day, you get your head coach and your de facto GM, there to really get hands-on experience with these guys, or in some cases, you get some of your conditioning guys, like at TCU. Dallas managed to have their conditioning guys conducting those drills. So, you just get to take full advantage of the availability of these prospects.
Yeah. I mean, I'm loving the process. I'm glad that we're kind of getting back into normal routine because, we were last year, you didn't have this. And so you're kind of going to this thing blindly. But it's drawing closer and closer, man. We got maybe one more full week, and then we'll be into April. And then we'll start kind of pitting people against this person. Okay, who's this guy against this guy? And kind of maybe looking at putting our board together. And we keep saying we're going to put this together. I know, your schedule's super, super busy, but these are things that we're kind of looking at and kind of getting our top 50 of who the best players are and where we see them at in this draft coming out. But going from there. So we want, like you always say, man, we don't want to hold you too long, man. But we definitely want you to kind of give us some feedback on it, man. We really appreciate, man, y'all spending time with us. Hit the like button, man. Help us with the algorithm. Subscribe. Make sure you put that in there for us as well, man, share with your friends, man. Share with your buddy. Share with your buddy who's maybe a Dolphin fan. Maybe share with your buddy who's a Falcon fan. Maybe who's a Patriot fan, man, and say, hey, man, those guys are full of bunk, or they got some good points. We definitely love it. Make sure you drop a comment, man, and we appreciate you so much, man.
Yes, sir. So as always, I'm Brandon, and that's my guy.
Man, I'm Set It Off Chris, man. We frankly football, man.
Peace.